The Ministry of Law, Justice and Parliamentary Affairs has shown a remarkable commitment to aligning the Commission's legal foundation with international standards and norms, especially the Paris Principle, while also ensuring the realities and aspirations of Bangladeshis seeking the realization of their human rights. This is one of the most significant reform efforts underway, carrying both symbolic weight and practical impact. Over the past months, UNDP and our partners have supported the Ministry in facilitating a consultative process aimed at being technically rigorous and inclusive. This has involved soliciting expert reviews and comments on the draft ordinance from national and international experts, convening stakeholder dialogues with civil society actors, victims of rights violations, human rights defenders, and community leaders, synthesizing feedback from 5 regional consultations in Sylhet, Khulna, Cox's Bazar, Rajshahi, and Rangpur, which engaged more than 500 participants, including human rights defenders, women's rights groups, indigenous and disabilities rights organizations, victims and families of enforced disappearances, youth organizations, human rights advocates, and journalists covering human rights issues. We acknowledge the critical role played by human rights defenders, including the Honorable Advisor Adilur Rahman Khan, for mobilizing networks to ensure diverse representation in this process. We also recognize the Citizens Platform for SDGs for convening a parallel civil society consultation in Dhaka, which surfaced perspectives from marginalized constituencies such as transgender communities, child labor advocates, persons with disabilities, and residents of informal settlements. We commend this government-civil society collaboration, which has stood out as the most comprehensive consultation process ever undertaken on the National Human Rights Commission in Bangladesh, led by the Ministry and guided by openness and a strong spirit of partnership. While stakeholder perspectives have varied, several policy-relevant themes emerged. There's a broad consensus on the need for a structurally independent National Human Rights Commission with legal safeguards for autonomy and impartiality. There's a recognition of institutional shortcomings under the current framework and a collective aspiration for a more responsive and effective commission. A call for measurable outcomes and accountability mechanisms to ensure the Commission's credibility and impact.
Bashundhara issue অশুদ্ধতার বিরুদ্ধে এক বিন্দুও ছাড় নয়.
Together, these national voices align closely with the international standards set out in the Paris Principles, which emphasize structural independence through transparent and merit-based appointment of commissioners, security of tenure, and financial autonomy, pluralism, ensuring institutional representation of Bangladesh demographic and social diversity, a comprehensive mandate with authority to promote and protect all human rights, including investigatory, advisory, and referral powers, operational capacity with provision for adequate and predictable resources to ensure functional autonomy, accessibility through decentralized presence and simplified procedures to facilitate public engagement, accountability and cooperation, with obligations for public reporting and interinstitutional collaboration with Parliament, the judiciary, ministries, and international mechanisms. UNDP is encouraged by the proactive engagement of human rights defenders in shaping the future Commission. We remain committed to supporting the interim government in sustaining this dialogue beyond the legislative phase, including by facilitating modalities for structured collaboration between the National Human Rights Commission and civil society, supporting advocacy for parliamentary ratification for constitutional entrenchment of the ordinance, and providing technical assistance for institutional capacity building post-enactment. Within the UN system, governance and human rights are core areas of UNDP's engagement. We are also proud to collaborate closely with OHCHR and other UN entities in this reform effort. The UN country team, consisting of all the UN agencies present in Bangladesh, has jointly reviewed the 2009 Act and submitted recommendations, many of which are now reflected in the current draft. We also value our established and projected partnership with allies such as the Asia-Pacific Forum, the Commonwealth Foundation, and the Danish Institute for Human Rights, partners whose experience continues to enrich this journey. Earlier this year, we also facilitated a peer learning exchange with the South African Human Rights Commission, which informed key provisions of the draft ordinance. In closing, I wish to thank every stakeholder who contributed to this robust and inclusive consultation process. We hope this reform will culminate in the establishment of an A-status National Human Rights Commission, an institution that embodies the principles of independence, effectiveness, and public trust. UNDP reaffirms its commitment to supporting the government of Bangladesh in strengthening the national human rights architecture in line with both its international obligation and its national aspirations. We extend our sincere appreciation to the Ministry of Law and the Legislative and Parliamentary Affairs Division for their leadership, to the Government of Switzerland for its enduring partnership, and to all participants for their thoughtful contribution throughout this